Guess who we are? We're the Warriors on here in the Men's Roundtable Series podcast. I'm your host, Mr. U. We got some guys in the studio ready to rock tonight and some folks in the live chat ready to join us. I'm excited about that. If you haven't been watching our show, you're not a fan, sorry to hear that. Become a fan today, please. We are the Men's Roundtable Series podcast. And I got a quick note and a really big announcement. Quick note, this is your first time watching and listening. Upper right-hand corner of your screen is the QR code. Use your camera on your phone, grab that. All of our episodes of the Men's Roundtable Series podcast, you can find it there. Use that QR code upper right-hand corner of your screen. Big announcement real quick. Mine's the other way. Oh, man, big announcement. All right, so in the month of March, it's going to be next week. Now, I've heard this from many of our fans and listeners, but this was solely a decision that I think had to be made. So instead of being a monthly podcast, which we have been up to this point, we're going to a weekly podcast. We need more content. I'm going to be collaborating with these guys on the screen and other guys who do men's coaching and men's development. More content on this channel. So we needed it for a long time. Now we're going to have it. So a lot more collaboration. You're going to see a lot more stuff going on, but we're going to be a weekly podcast every Thursday starting in March. So excited about that, guy. Hope you guys are too. We're talking about some things that I think we need to get into, but let's see what's going on out here in this chat section. All right, my guy, fantastic podcast. I think it's the Compass Chronicles, I believe it's called. Javier is in the house, man. Big fan of him and his work. He does fantastic artwork, podcast art. Man, rep yourself, brother. Awesome podcast art. That's just right here on the screen right here, man. Check him out, man. Thanks, Javier, for jumping in there. Appreciate you, brother. All right. So we're going to be talking a little bit about a topic I think is everything we talk about is germane to men and it matters where men are concerned. But I think in this case, it goes a little bit deeper. Now, to the thrill seeker, mountain climbing is exciting and it's exhilarating. But to the isolated, it equals exposure and forced transparency. You guys remember the story of Moses and the Lord and him spending 40 days, 40 nights on the mount, speaking to the Lord? Remember that? Got a lot of questions about that one. What made his yes so automatic? What made him stay for a 40-day summit and didn't question it? What made him change so much that the people who he knew the most couldn't even recognize him when he came back down from the mountain? What made him drop all his discomfort and fear and want more time on the mountain? I don't think mountains are a bad thing all the time, but sometimes they are. We're going to talk about both mountains, the good ones and the bad ones. I believe, and this is a book that I always quote called Wild at Heart by John Eldridge. That is a game-changing book for anyone who aspires to be a full-blooded man. That book is going to change you. It's going to cut you. It's going to make you cry. It's going to call to order. The thing that's been in your life has been out of order. That book had that kind of potential. I believe that mountains create space for God in our life. And sometimes mountains can be a thing that we try to avoid because it's too big. It's too much work. It's too much to handle. It's too much of a challenge for us. So we're going to get into what mountains are for each of us. Every man's going to bring a mountain tonight to the table. If you're in the comment section watching and listening, bring your mountain to the comment section. This is a safe space. Nobody's going to dog you or attack you in here. We don't play that game here. So drop your mountain in the comment section. And if you got a specific kind of comment, I may even bring you to the stage. We'll figure out how we're going to work it out. But let's go ahead and get kicked off a little bit with this. So when I say mountain to you guys, tell me real quick, all of you guys, what do you think of first? What comes to mind for you when I say mountain?
I'll start with that. First thought is obstacle, but second thought, after you think about it for a second, is challenge, and okay. I think that's the biggest thing, because when you say obstacle, then it becomes negative. And then you go, wait a minute, you know what? All the mountains are not negative, man. So you stick with challenge. We have a lot of challenges in our lives. And, a lot of us are going to view that and go, hey, I've got this mountain in front of me. We put a lot of those mountains in front of us, either on purpose or subconsciously. And so, for me, that's what I think of. Challenge right there.
I like it. All right, DL, Oscar, how about you guys?
I mean, I think achievement, like a goal, something to strive towards, right? Because mountains are climbed. I know we descend when we get to the top, but the first thing that comes to mind, a knee-jerk reaction, is like, oh, that's a goal. That's a destination. Like, we want to get there to the top, right? On the converse end of it, I think, because you said the good mountains and the bad mountains, right? So my brain's, the wheels are already turning, right? I also think of the crushing, because if you're not climbing a mountain, right, a lot of times we can feel as though we're being crushed by that mountain. So think of the two ends of that.
Okay, I like that. Oscar, how about you, brother?
Being the knuckle dragger in the room here, guys, I think of it literally, right? I think of it as a struggle. It's hard to go up. I think of it as a adventure, and then I think of it as beauty. Because when you get to that peak of that mountain, it's sometimes breathtaking what happens. And I think that gives me the vision of how we want to get to the mountain, or we think like, once I get there, that's it. It's good. Right.
Yeah.
And then when we have that mindset of finishing, if you guys ever look on the other side of the mountain, it's a lot easier to come back down than go back up.
Yeah.
Right. And so even though there's beauty in the peak, I think of adventure, because getting to the very top, you're going to face a lot of different things.
Yeah. In that respect too, we're going against gravity too.
That's right.
In our ascension, when we're descending, we're got a little bit easier. All right. Look who's in the house. This is one of our regular panelists, Timothy Clay, aka Coach T.O. said, "Peace and love, fellas, driving and listening. What I don't understand is why you're not on the screen." I take a moment to ponder that while I sip on this tea.
Where you at, T.O.? Where you at?
I don't understand. No. What happened? Why you not here? Okay, you're the second person who's not here tonight. What are we doing out here? What kind of operation are we running out here? All right, the Compass Chronicles podcast on the YouTube now. Lost the Facebook link. Hit me up privately, but if you need help with either one of those, I'm happy to help you, brother. It's no big deal, man. I got you. I just got you. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, man. You chose Tampa over us. I totally forgot about that. Okay, my bad. I'm glad you got home safe, brother. Love you, man. Be safe in your driving, man, and chime in where you can. Love to hear your insights on some of this stuff, man. All right, so when it comes to the whole mountain thing, some folks look at mountains as a place of clarity, and I for some reason I just love that imagery. I've climbed a mountain before, not Everest or anything like that, but a mountain over here in the East Coast, and it was, for me, it was a huge mountain. It was huge. People who were younger and older and more experienced buckled, and they couldn't finish it. So I was among maybe 4 people who finished it, and I don't know how we did that. We were all gassed for sure. Our legs were on fire. I'm not sure we tore multiple ACLs. I don't even know. We were in pain. We got to the top of the mountain, and I don't know, when I got up there and looked around, I mean, it was a lot of shrubbery and just a lot of other things that not beautiful, like, look around and see just scenic thing like some of those AI images or whatever. But to me, I was like, it was a point of clarity. I'm like, wow, I accomplished something that I quit 5 times before I got up here, but I kept on going, and I made it, and I had some of the clearest thoughts. I saw myself in a different light. Like, you know what? Adversity is going to come, but you know what? You don't have to let it happen. You don't have to let it become a thing that holds you back from accomplishing even a small goal like that. So I'm thinking, if I can do that one, it felt like it was a big goal to me because it was very physically painful. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? That goal can be handled. Possibly the bigger goals, other bigger mountains in our life. So to me, a mountain in that case is kind of like clarity. It's kind of like, I think when you guys mentioned it, kind of confronting some things that maybe you've been challenged with in life, and you know what, I got to handle this, and I can't run from this anymore. How do you guys feel about the idea of a mountain being like a calling or a place where you will confront something? Because I think as men, we have mountains that we don't really talk about. What do you think about that?
I think the challenge is important, and there's a different way to look at that. But if you look at it with pure ego, then you get to the challenge and you start going, but you don't think of anything else. That's like the main thing is getting to the goal, whatever that goal is. If you think of the mountain as a challenge to lead, then it's harder because now you have to worry about other things and you have to help others come with you. Right. I just recently went on about a year now, went on a hike with a lot of dudes. And the first thought is, I got to show up, right? I can't be the guy at the end, just like you mentioned. And I got to get up there. And then as you start going, if you are paying attention to your surroundings, you start noticing, I kind of have to slow down a little bit. This guy needs some help. This guy needs some help, right? And it could be anything from picking them up after they fell to carrying their burden, carrying the backpack they're carrying, or anything like that. And I see that as either way, it's a challenge. It just depends on how you want to finish the challenge, alone or with the team, right? And that team, you guys can put in there whoever you want in that team. But I think the challenge is important, but I think the more important is how do I want to finish this challenge? What does that challenge look like to me when I'm done with it?
I like it. Before you guys jump in, I want to get this comment in from the Compass Chronicles podcast. So I look at mountains as the learning experience and also an emotional battle as well. All right, I like that. Love for you to flesh that out when you get a chance to. I want to hear more from that. Go ahead, DL, Rory, what you got?
Me and Dilla, we're both like so polite. Like, no, I'll go. I think that part of the issue is there's too many guys out there who think that having mountains is a bad thing. I look at them. I think they're necessary. How do we view mountains being on our path? They're absolutely necessary. It's like, why are you getting up in the morning? What do you have to do with your life? Maybe it's because I'm older and I'm an empty nester and everything else. My life used to revolve around the kids. And so it was like my mountains every day, even though they were smaller, was, get the kid to practice, get this guy back from practice, be at that practice. I'm coaching over in this team. Now that that's all gone, I go to bed at night and I have a mountain waiting for me at 4:00 in the morning tomorrow. I can't wait to go climb that thing. I wake up ready to go. I don't hit my alarm 6 times, man. I'm like, one time, if it takes me that, usually I wake up beforehand and I'm out of the bed going, let's rock. I got to do this, because I have that mountain there, and I think that guys who want to achieve, guys who have just really just taken it on that I'm going to go succeed. I'm going to provide, I'm going to protect, I'm going to lead. You know what, man, we need those mountains. So that's where I'm at in that.
I love it. DL, got something?
Yeah, man. I think it just depends on how we look at the mountain, right? The scripture tells us in this life we'll have troubles of many kinds, right? If we're looking at a mountain as just something to be conquered versus this is part of the process. This is the journey. This is the adventure, right? Like it changes the entire game of what it really is, right? A mountain can turn into a speed bump, It can just be part of the journey. But that's kind of what I was sitting here thinking about. I'm like, it just depends on how we're looking at it, right? If it's a part of a task list where it's like, okay, I have to conquer this mountain and that mountain and that mountain and that mountain. Yeah. By the time you're done, you're going to hit the whole Cascade Range. That's great. But if we look at it as part of the journey, man, then it's, for me, I view it all as one big mountain, right? And then kind of like to Stu's point in the comments here, once I'm done scaling that mountain, I'm in the presence of God. So it's all part of the journey. Even if we spoke about Moses a little bit ago, right? Like, what was he doing at the top of the mountain? He met with God, right? So if we look at it that way and then put life in the lens of a mountain and change it into that, then it's no longer even a challenge. It's a challenge accepted.
I like it. All right, first of many tough questions. You know how we do on this show. It always happens. If you guys want to be transparent and come out with it, you guys normally do that. I don't have to beg you guys to do that kind of stuff. You do it all the time, really. But has there ever been a time for you guys, and you guys are in the comment section, I want you to hear this and answer this as well, please. Was there ever a time in your life where you had a responsibility that you called a season because you didn't want to own it long term? You had a responsibility that you called it a season because you didn't want to own it long term. Church folks, it's about you guys, who you guys can jump in there as well. I think we all have done that at some point in time. Anybody want to share what that looks like? Or you guys going to go mute on me? I'm ready for whatever, but
I want to make sure I understand the question. So we called it a season, thinking we were going to be done with it because we didn't want to own it.
That's right. You'd be surprised how not rare this is, Rory. This is really a not rare. People do this all the time.
You know,
everybody talks about it.
I will touch this one first.
Go ahead.
I have all kinds of seasons, brother. Every time there's something that I'm going through that's hard, that's self-inflicted, something that I know that I don't want to take accountability for. Oh yeah, that's a season. That's a season all day long. This too shall pass, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Like I think about my history, right? Time I spent in prison, that was a season, right? Nah, that was the culmination of my choices. That was part of this entire, to me now, today, this is one big season, brother. A bunch of little ones compiling to and culminating into one really big season. But I think for me, when I don't want to own it, that's the perfect lens to look at it from, right? Is like, oh man, I don't want to admit that I screwed up. I don't want to admit that I'm unwilling to move forward, but I need to call it something so I can remove myself from having ownership of it, right? It's a season. I don't make bad choices. This is just a season. This happens. You know, it's raining and I don't want to get an umbrella, but I know the sun's going to come out, hopefully. But yeah, any time that I don't want to take ownership of my choices or didn't, I think today I don't really technically use season unless I'm talking about salt and pepper. You know, salt doesn't lose its flavor. That's the only season that I want.
All right, you don't like spices? Okay. I'm keeping note of that. DL hates spicy food. Okay, got it.
Hey, don't be hearing words I didn't say.
That's all I need. I can't say that. I need to have some spice. But all right, Oscar, you want to touch this at all? How you doing?
Man, this is a tough question because you really have to dig deep and look at your decision making, just like DL was saying.
That's what I want.
The thing that really comes to mind is how often we don't realize we're making these things a season, and then we miss a bunch to get to that point. And what I mean by that is, it's like when you say, oh, when they get a little older, I'll be able to do this, and this. But you didn't do anything prior to that, so you didn't build anything to that. So even though your brain was like, when they get a little older, the season, right? When that season comes, I'll be able to do these things. But you didn't do anything in the meantime because you're waiting it out. Maybe it's hard. Maybe, you got everything going on around you. Like you created a season thinking that the next season will come, but without the work of this season, the next season will not come. And that's really what, for me, as a novice dad, when I had my first daughter, I remember that doing those things. I didn't realize that I was making a season or calling it a season, but I'm looking at like this is hard. Like this little kid that wants things and I have to take care of it, and I have no clue what it wants because all it does is cry. Like that's a season, right? And you think, man, I can't wait till she starts walking because then I can do this. But how much of this am I missing right now? How much of that am I depriving her right now because I'm waiting for the next season that I've created in my mind? And so that really is what comes to mind. And I think we do it inadvertently. We get into hard spots and we're like, oh yeah, when this is over, I'll be good to go. When we do this, I'll be good to go. The one that everybody hears, right? When I make more money, then I'll be good to go.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And so, but again, you're like missing the current season because you're always thinking of a season that's gonna be better. when you should be doing the work now so that that season actually becomes to existence.
I like it. We got a few comments coming in here, man. From Austin, said mountains were symbolically a meeting place with God many times in scripture too. I go to the mountains to get away from the noise. So what is a mountain really? He had a comment for his partner over here. So you in a season of bad Wi-Fi, boy, you keep freezing.
That's so y'all know that's baby brother right there.
Yeah, we couldn't tell. Yeah, I do that the entire time. All right. Compass Chronicle said, sometimes our own egos make us create seasons we don't want to admit either defeat or giving up control. That's what's that, Javier. That's what I wanted to get these guys thinking about, because that's really what happens. Our egos make it look like, oh, you know what? I'm going to move past this, or here's one for the faith-filled circles. I'm a bust a liar that they tell a lot. And I say they, I mean sometimes but we in the faith and community circle, we tell this lie. We say, oh, God has had me do this now.
Yeah.
I see. So God is done with this unfinished building, right? So,
yeah.
Do you know, if you know God at all, you know that's not what he does. He's a completionist. That's a real word. Look it up and Google it. Is that a real word? Completionist? He's a completionist.
Yeah, it is now.
You talked about in Luke how much of a shame it is to start something that you don't finish. Yeah. That's why he says count the cost up. Start a building, you don't finish it, or start a war you can't finish, or you can't completely fund the war. You open yourself up to shame and guilt and embarrassment. God is telling you don't do that. You know he don't think like that. So if he had you start something and a few weeks later, because it got uncomfortable for you, you don't do it anymore, please don't use God as the reason why you decided to quit or decided to pivot. God had nothing to do with it. All right. So Cleo's commenting right here. Shit. I had to read it first. Mr. What are we going to talk about? Okay. So one of our regular panelists said, young lady I was courting told me she was pregnant. We were both 17. Turned out the child was not mine. Yikes. But during those moments in time, I was scared to death. Didn't even know how to take ownership. Wow. You guys want to comment on that? I don't know what to say.
That was a season.
Yeah, I know it. Okay. All right. No worries.
You know, I wanna. I'm sorry, Rory. Before you jump in, but I wanted to speak to one more thing as far as seasons. As you're talking about that, and you mentioned the faith thing, I'm like, oh yeah. You know, there's other times where I call it a season in the faith community, right? When I'm not sure that God's going to keep showing me favor. You know, like I recall recently, like a lot of things are going well for me right now, right? And I'm talking to somebody, they're like, oh, wow, you know, I see this going on, this guy. I said, yeah, God's got me in a season where, you know, things are happening. And I'm realizing right now that I say that because maybe I don't believe that he'll continue. Maybe I don't have the faith that he'll sustain whatever it is that he's beginning, or maybe I just don't have the drive to continue to steward the work well, right? So I think that's another end of that we can look at. I know personally, just brought to my mind. I'm like, man, yeah, I guess I do. I really do have a lot of seasons, man. And by calling it that, though, that framework, I feel like none of them are ever good reasons to call them seasons, right? It's always trying to escape responsibility. It's always out of fear. It's always out of stress or anxiety. Yeah.
I want to jump back to Clay's comment because I don't want to diminish it. I'm not sure I would call this a season, but I would definitely call this what we talked about earlier about a mountain being like a responsibility. We talked about it, you know, as a panel. I don't know how many shows it's been that we discussed it, because we're probably in month 8 right now. We discussed this so many times about you know, the discomfort of walking in your obligations as a man, you know, doing the right thing and being a person of honor. And I feel like that's kind of what made probably what Clay was saying was scaring him to death, because he didn't know how to even handle this, had no experience. Maybe he didn't have anybody to tell him what to do in that scenario. He got hit with that ooh wee. It's like, oh wow, what do I do now? What's the next step? Is there a book I can read? You know, it's frightening. So I totally get that, man. I think that one of the things that we talk about a lot, and I don't know how we're going to ever have a show we don't talk about it at least once, is the whole isolation piece. Because this is something that, and if you guys not seeing it in your circles, because one of the things I asked you guys from the beginning, when we first started this mission, I said, the biggest thing for me is what I care about more than anything is that wherever you live, in your neck of the woods, in your sphere of influence, and you're grabbing 3 or 5 guys and you're doing this where you live. You're doing this in your garage. You're doing this in your man cave / office. You're doing this in your local coffee shop. You're doing this. So that way, that man's not next week on a bridge or in a dark room with a bottle of pills in his hand and say, you know what? Nobody listened to me. Nobody cares that I'm here. No. So that's one of the biggest things. But isolation is the big thing. But I want to talk about isolation versus solitude. I think there's a mountain discussion in here somewhere. If it's not, then we're going off on a tangent. That's what we do. Have fun with it. Roll with it. But solitude versus isolation. I feel like we have it's dicey sometimes. Am I with you guys in this one? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we want to have what we call independence, or sometimes we want to just avoid or escape stuff. And it's like, okay, solitude should look like that. It should be a place. Remember Superman, the movies, The Fortress of Solitude? Remember that? Man read my mind. He said, Fortress of Solitude all day. I should have known you'd be the first one to say that. I love it. I love it. You know what I'm saying? But it's almost like, even a better example is all those times in ministry where Jesus would go away to a faraway place. It happened so many times. It's like, you got to catch that there's some kind of symbolism here. There's a pattern or a model here because it's happening all the time. He would minister, perform miracles, preach and teach in the temple. And then when you least expect it, he would go away to a faraway place and leave everybody and go and have isolation or solitude. Which one was it? I think it was solitude, because he needed to recharge, get his focus back, recognize where he was in this space, and get maybe perhaps some new downloads so that he could be able to function and operate on the level that he was supposed to be functioning and operating on. So for me, I want to ask you guys this question, just real direct. You guys in the chat, ask you the same question. Are you challenged with the whole isolation versus solitude argument yourself personally? Let's get into it a little bit.
I'll jump on that one. Personally, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not, because, I look at that. I am isolated in a lot of ways because, I do all my work from this desk, and almost everything I do is virtual, and through calls like this. So, I'll spend the whole day in this room sometimes and not even see the sun. That's not solitude. That's kind of isolation due to the circumstance, due to the setup, that type of thing. But it's not what I'm striving for. It's not what I'm looking for. Isolation is sort of a byproduct of the way things are going. Solitude is when everything's done and, my wife's asleep and I'm done making calls for the day, and I get to sit down for a minute on the couch, and just be like, that kind of thing. I can catch up on some calls. I can communicate with my kids. That's solitude. There's no more noise. It's my moment to recharge and find my peace, type of thing. So for me, I do get to have both, but the isolation isn't necessarily negative. It's just sort of a circumstance.
Let me push a little bit. Just a little. I believe that solitude is discipline. Those examples I just laid out, even the Superman one, there's a discipline element attached to it. When Jesus went to a faraway place to pray, or went to a high mountain to pray, he did this. That was discipline. What you're doing, for you guys that don't know, Paquette has 10 podcasts. I used to do that without money, without monetization. He has 10 of them. When you're in that room working, is that not discipline? Yeah,
100%. Yeah,
I think the solitude part. Come on, I want to pull it out of you guys. Solitude is not just being in a place by yourself. Something else has to be happening to make it solitude. You guys want to touch on it and bring it out without me having to tell you what it is and speak for you?
I think it has to do with selflessness and selfishness.
Okay.
Because solitude for me is putting on a headset and doing a workout, and that's solitude. I'm in my own space, but I'm doing it. I said it before, it's like selflessly selfish. I'm doing it for me because I know it makes me better for them. Right? When I wake up early in the morning to just sit and read, that's solitude. I'm not trying to get away from them. I know that I need to get my mind right for the day, get my mind right with God, get my mind right with the things that I need to get going before they get up so that I don't take their time. So I'm being selflessly selfish because I'm taking them in consideration. When you go to solitude, now you're trying to get away from whatever it might be. That's just selfish. Right? So if you're doing something where you are getting solitude for whatever, in whichever way people do, I'm in the top of the mountain, getting solitude, putting on a headset and writing, getting solitude, in your own head, in your own space, trying to rearrange the thoughts that go through your head or the worries that might be going through in order to get out of that solitude and then be better for it. There's a difference than if I'm just trying to hide from things and create isolation because I don't want to deal with those things.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I agree with everything that was said here in some way, shape, and form. And then I agree with that. Can we say solitude is being alone with a purpose, perhaps? I agree with that. Rory touched on it, intention, right?
Yeah.
It's like going away with intention. When you have the opportunity to be with other people, you have the opportunity to be surrounded, but you choose to go off alone, right? So there's an intention there. In prayer, we talk about the secret place, right? You can have that secret place. That's solitude. You say the fortress of solitude, right? That's a place of refreshing. It's a place of learning. It's a place of sharpening. It's a place where you can get yourself ready, kind of like was just said, right? To be able to maybe pour into people, maybe to, father your children, teach students, whatever it is. Solitude, I believe, is that preparation point. You walk away with intention to come back in fellowship, to come back in commune, versus isolation. I think for me, I view isolation as going away out of fear, out of shame, out of something like that. It's like solitude is the secret place. Isolation is going away because you're hiding from secrets.
Okay. So this is Javier's comment right here. I think I hear what you're saying, brother. And matter of fact, your next comment, I want all of us to kind of speak to that. I'll bring it up in a little bit. Not sure why that happened. Sorry about that, guys. When I think about seasons, I guess being from New York, it helped with this perspective because I had 4 seasons there, as opposed to here in South Carolina where we have like 2. Really cold and really, really hot. That's what we have. But but in that time there, I was conditioned to learn how to prepare. We knew it was going to happen. We didn't know to what degree, but we knew that fall was coming, that the leaves were going to fall for the tree, and that was going to be the beginning of the entrance of winter. It was going to be really, really cold, storms, nor'easters, blizzards, etc. It was normal. And then we knew that, after that, we see spring, and then we go into a really hot summer. But we had to prepare for it. So I don't know if that helps with this comment or not. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to touch it or not, but if not, we'll move on to the next thing. But I just, I want to kind of put that out there. Got my brother from another mother. He's a spiritual father to many. Good to see you, Apostle. Thanks for being here, sir. All right, here's a comment I want to get you guys to talk about a little bit. He said, I do both, but by both he means solitude and being in isolation. He said it's very hard because he's been burnt so many times. He's just being transparent about that. Okay. You guys want to speak to Javier in regards to this? You have anything you want to share with him? This is something he shared as well, so this may help your perspective. But this is a passage of scripture that he shared from Ecclesiastes 4, 9, and 10. So I'll start while the guys are thinking. Brother, everybody's been burnt. I heard a perspective today that I know people aren't going to like. I had no intention of sharing it, but guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to share it now. People talk about church hurt as one example, right? Well, here's what happens before church hurt gets here, right? We get saved, right? We commit ourselves to the Lord, and then we start making decisions. Now we enter the marriage. Basically, we enter into a marriage with Jesus, and rather than consult Him, talk to Him about what's the best next move. We make decisions. We decide where we're going to go to church. We decide what ministry we're going to work in. We decide how often we're going to show up. We decide what groups we're going to go to. We decide when we're going to stay home and not show up. And we don't ever ask our quote unquote husband's opinion, which is Jesus in this scenario. What should I do? We're brand new to this. This is His kingdom, not ours. We've been invited into it. And we are deciding what we're going to do. And we never ask any questions. We just decide things and we want Him to validate it. And then when we get hurt, it's His fault. We mad at Him. We mad at His people. Never asked Him a thing. Never asked Him for any instructions. Never asked for a roadmap. We just did stuff and just said, you know what? I'm sure He'd be good with it. Try that with your actual spouse and tell me how that turns out for you.
Yeah.
You guys can chime in if you have something to share regarding Javier's comment.
I just want to say one thing to that, man.
Not hearing you, brother. What
Can
happened?
you hear me now? You hear me?
I got you.
Try again, Dio.
Yeah?
I got DL.
Okay. So I'm not going to speak for the world, but I'm pretty sure we've all been burnt. I'm pretty sure we've all been disappointed. I'm pretty sure we've all been, experienced some form of betrayal. What I would encourage you, brother, with is if you want to find the line between those things where it's not hard anymore. I know a person who says his yoke is easy and his burden is light. I know a person who says he is trustworthy. Written on him is faithful and true. I know a person, man. And for me, that's how I kind of operate with life, man, is I trust people to do one thing, to be people, which means they're going to be flawed, which means there's a chance they're going to hurt me, which means there's a chance I'm going to be betrayed. I trust God for everything else. And I would encourage you, bro, to do the same, man. It ain't an easy road, but it's worthwhile, man. It's worth it. It's worth it. And they say when we say we're going through things, it's worth it because when we're going through things, if we don't look at the thing, we see that He's bringing us through it. We're going through it, right? We're not running up against the wall. We're going through it. So I would encourage you with that, man. Jump back on the horse, bro. It'll be all right. Just trust God for the rest.
From his comment, it sounds like he's trying to do that right there. So I'd love to hear that comment. All right. You guys want to jump in regarding this? Anything regarding this solitude versus isolation situation?
Well, I saw what he put on there, where two is better than one because the other can lift that the one. There you go. I think it's important again to differentiate the solitude and the isolation. I think in solitude I can think through what's going on and realize I need to call Rory because I know he's got this one thing and I need some help. Whereas isolation, it's saying I need no one's help. I will figure this out on my own. Or this is actually a perfect example. I got burned before, so I'm just doing this. I don't care. Right. And there's a difference between that. That's me creating this silo of solitude, of isolation and not letting anybody in. And I know that for men, that's a thing, right? Like we got it. We'll figure this thing out. But man, I mean, if you're growing up at all, like you realize this, you ain't doing this world alone. Whether you have a family or friends or whatever, at the end, I have yet to read anybody ever saying, "Oh, I wish I had done this by myself." And so, isolation is one thing. Solitude gives you the clear mind to realize when you need the help, who to ask for help, and that is really that solitude is really where you can clear your mind and talk to God and have that one-on-one conversation to be able to figure out the rest. In isolation, you're not letting anyone in, including God. You're just not doing that.
Yeah, if I can jump in one time, before we
go
leave
ahead.
this topic, I've enjoyed listening to everybody's stuff, and I love what Javier is doing over there. I know a lot about his situation too, and he has been through a lot. But to kind of address all of it, I think we all agree that everybody has been burned at some point. But when you look at why we let ourselves get burned, I think that's kind of part of the bigger conversation. It goes back to what you said, you at the beginning, which was, you want to make sure that we're all out there in our community, building brotherhoods, grabbing a couple of guys, saying, hey, let's all get together. When we don't have that, brotherhood, when Oscar doesn't have me to call, you know what I mean? When he needs something, that's when we are so desperate for that we end up trusting the wrong people. We end up looking past things that we should be able to see. We look past the warning signs and past the red flags because we're just focusing on, that little bit of good in them because we gotta find somebody. So I think a big key to not getting burned, is not shutting down. It's moving forward and building a brotherhood of guys that you can count on that aren't going to burn you. And then you don't need to open up, out of desperation. You can open up out of, love and faith, and they're there for you.
I'm hearing the theme, so I want you to do this for me. I want to make this point real quick, and I want you guys to speak to that because that's kind of a little hit. I've headed where we were going to go, but because we're there, it's obviously the right place to go as far as building that brotherhood and being intentional about, connecting with others, because that was going to be how I want to end this show. But it's so good right here. But I think one of the things that I can't remember you guys said it though, but that whole isolation thing to kind of just avoid dealing with stuff. I mean, men put a name on that and call it independence. Like I was talking about somewhere on somebody's show about how the husband or the father hangs out in the garage and works on that project. It's only a project that he can do. So guess what? It makes it simple for him to say, you know what? I need to do this by myself because I'm the only one that understands how to fix this car or to work on this motor or whatever. And it's disguised independence, but it's really avoidance. It's like, you know what? I don't want to deal with, maybe it's, somebody who's nagging him in the house. Maybe it's the kids who are just without any level of discipline or couth, and they're just going nuts in there. And being in the garage, working on the project, being independent is a way to avoid it. And I just feel like we got isolation and solitude can look alike in the location. I think when you guys were saying earlier, I think it's what we do with it, what we do with that space. Because I mean, disclosure, and I'm not hiding from my wife for this when she watches it, because she watches all of our shows. So she'll probably talk about it a little bit. But there's been times where this office that I'm in right now was a place of isolation and a place of solitude. Same place, same walls, same paint, same 70-inch, same everything. Nothing was different. Only thing was different was what I brought to the table. There were times I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of getting burnt out here. I ain't messing with nobody. My phone on vibrate. I'm in this room right here, ignoring messages, not responding to people, saying no to events to get me out there social. I don't want to even be around because they all need to be cutthroat. I don't even want to do it. And that all happened in this same place. Now I'm in a place of solitude. I come inside here and I get charged up and get what I need. Me and Daddy in here talking and having a good time. I'm getting poured into and getting filled, and I reach out to you guys and encouraging you guys when you ain't asking for me to do that. That's happening from in the same place. You know what I'm saying? So the location has nothing to do with it. It's what we take into it. But let's touch on the other part about that intentional brotherhood, because I feel like every show we need to hammer that one home, because that's something that I'm hearing from men. I'm almost positive you guys hear that from somebody on a regular basis, where they struggle with that, where they just don't want to do it, where they won't pick up that phone. Matter of fact, they wouldn't even go as far as send a text. I mean, it's so easy to send an audio message now and just, 2-minute, 3-minute audio message. So easy, but they won't do that. They won't send it. They won't even send an email. They're definitely not going to pick up the phone and call. You know what I'm saying? What's that about? How are you guys conquering it? Where are you showing that intentionality where you are, and what made you do that? Anybody?
Let me just throw this in here before we get too far ahead, because it leads into this.
Copy.
Someone, I can't even tell you who, but it worked. Someone said, and this is not easy, right? This mentality is not easy. But someone said, when you get burnt, you could either let it turn you dark and ashy or light a fire in your ass. Right? And that dark and ashy is, I think, what ends up happening to a lot of dudes. You get burnt, and it doesn't have to be just dudes, right? We've seen this, right? A guy wants to provide or do XYZ, and maybe the wife is kind of burning them, like they're not connecting well. Friends, family, all these different factors can be there. And turning dark and ashy is that feeling of like, nah, I'm good. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna go reach out. I'm not gonna do these things. One, because I'm a little angry about it, and two, because I don't want to get burned again. Unless you light a fire up in your butt and you freaking move, take that light somewhere else, and realize that someone else may be getting burnt if you don't show up and help. Right? And it brings to mind the whole saying, like, if I can, then I should. Right? But you only do that if you use that fire for the right reason.
I love it. All right. Ready to get into this?
I'm ready for this, man. I like that answer. Yeah, I'm ready.
Me too.
I mean, I've been doing this for a while with Power Man podcast, and I've been coaching men for a long time, and veterans, and now I'm coaching coaches of men, and I hear all the time what Javier just put up there in his comment, and a lot of it comes back to that pride thing. No guy wants to go out and show the world that he doesn't have the brotherhood already. And because, as soon as I'm reaching out, then I look needy. I have man upon man upon man who says something to the effect of, well, I don't attempt to friend somebody on Facebook. I let them send the friend request to me because I don't want to look needy. You know what I mean? There's been a war on men for years now. And, you too much like a man, and you all of a sudden you get, absolutely beat down. Not enough of a man, and then you get beat down the other way, and your woman goes find somebody who wants to be a man. There's a million things that happen to us because there's no clear direction of when TL's like, I'm right. Right? I mean, there's no clear directions on how to be a man anymore. And so we're all trying to figure this thing out. When it comes to brotherhood, we're told, don't go hang out with your buddies because you're supposed to be with your family. Then we're told, hey, if you don't have buddies, you're going to end up having, mental health issues, right? There is no answer. So the bottom line is that what we can do as men who are having these conversations, as men who are actually coming together to discuss these things, is we can lead. And the way out of this for as many men as possible is to get as many men as possible to lead the way. If I come down and I say, hey guys, come join me, and I do it for more than one, and I get 5, I get 10, I get 20. Now I've brought them all in. They didn't have to, give up their pride. They can say, hey, Rory reached out to me. It wasn't the other way around. Now we're building. Now they're in a safe space. Now they can talk. Now it works, And I think that that's just really important. I think the way around that for all of us is, if you're going to be a men's leader in some way, if you're going to have a podcast, if you're going to have a show, if you're going to, run a group, then be a men's leader. Step up, strap on your boots, and go out there and lead men. And you know what? Take the bullet for them. Invite them. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox now. You guys go ahead.
Fantastic job. I love it. Oscar, DL, thoughts?
Yeah, man. I resonate. I mean, low life, you know what it's all about. It's the war on pride, bro. And pride is the biggest obstacle when it comes to brotherhood, when it comes to community. I mean, there's so many different layers to it. Rory touched on some of it, right? The others are, I don't want to look weak. I don't want my secrets exposed. I don't know if I can trust these people. I mean, you name it, there's an excuse, all stemming from pride. I think about intentional, right? The book of Exodus talks about the building of the temple, right?
Mhm.
Very specific instructions, very specific materials, right? Above and beyond that, though, it was every person bringing their best, whatever that was, right? Whatever that was, whether it was just a little bit of time, like, Oscar, Rory, you guys might have a little bit of time or some really wise words, or you might have unlimited resources, whatever that is, bring that to the table with intention of building community, right? Like without the fear of any baggage. I mean, I think we have to, is that alpha male crap? Sorry. I think we have to, yeah, there it is. I saw that on the side. I'm like, yeah. And then there's the idea that we have to have it figured out before we go and figure it out. Like we are all on this journey to figure it out, but for whatever reason, we believe this lie that before we can step into building something, we have to have it already built. Like we are just pieces of the puzzle, right? We are one body of people, just many different parts, but one body of people serving towards the same goal. And it's like, I don't know. I get it. Once upon a time, I was an isolationist because I had so many skeletons in my closet. I didn't want nobody knowing none of that. Like, no, that sounds good. I want to go and hang out, but they might find out that I'm not so good of a person. I got to make sure, that I'm good before I go and be good. And it's like, I always use this terminology when it comes to like people that are getting ready to go to church, but they're not quite ready yet. Right. And I ask them, I'm like, do you take a shower before you go and take a shower? like the key to it is just jumping in. I think all of us have to just put that pride down, stomp it on its head a couple times, and then be on our merry, humble ways.
I love it.
Imposter syndrome is real, brother. That's what it is, right? Because you feel it. You're like, I'm not worthy to talk about X, Y, Z because I'm still in it. So that's just, it is what it is. I mean, I'm guilty of it 100%, especially in the podcast zone. Like, I'm talking to people and then people ask me questions. I'm like, bro, I don't know if I should answer that. Like, but in reality, and, coming from a military background, the only way to learn is to do. Right? We don't train by theory. Like we learn and then we do and jack it up and then learn some more and then do again. And it's hard to translate that to this realm where you're like, again, as an example, I'm a dude trying to learn how to be a dad. Like, I don't know anything. The biggest thing I got going for me is I realize I don't know anything. And I'm able to contact people so that I can learn how to do these things. Right. But in that process, I have learned a lot and I have been able to paint that imposter syndrome a little bit different color because it's still there, but it's just a little bit different color. Right. I mean, you get to Rory's stage and, he's not an imposter. He's all out there. 10 podcasts and throwing it all. And you're like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, the Renaissance man, I mean, he got 10 podcasts, been coaching men, got all these clients and whatnot. I mean, I don't understand why he won't just teach us how to do all this stuff. I mean,
I'm waiting. But I mean, again, it's just that imposter syndrome and we all have it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It could be parenting. It could be, talking about the gospel. It could be all these different things. And you're like, I'm not good enough to do that yet. But I think that's where community and what Mr. Yu here is doing is creating this so that we can then branch out, grab more, right? And realize that even if they don't ask for help, even if we don't ask for help, I'm going to listen in and I'm going to get the help. Even if I didn't ask for it, it's there. And I can reach in Save my pride if that's the reason. I'm not saying that's the right reason, but if that's the reason, save your pride. Go into the community. Listen. Someone's done it. Someone screwed it up. Someone fixed it. Let me grab that, put it in my pocket.
I mean, that's
Let me
what
jump
this is
back in
all
real
about.
quick.
Go for it.
If I may, we're real fast, just because
Of course,
I
man,
don't
yeah.
normally
We're
get
good.
to do that. But
We're good.
one more thing I want to add is just we're all talking about pride in a lot of ways. We're talking about imposter syndrome, pride, and that type of thing. We would all like to be able to, tell guys, hey, you got to put your pride down. I mean, all of us, right? But then I bet none of us are really willing to put that down wholeheartedly across our lives. In some instances, I think these guys here, we've all kind of learned how to do that, here or there. But by and large, I mean, I've gotten to know you guys on this panel pretty well. I'm pretty sure that all of you have some pride. I know I do. I'm sorry.
Sure.
But one thing that I've tried to do in terms of trying to get guys to get past the pride instead of like put it down is that's when you start discipling. That's when you start your discipleship. And that's when you start to introduce the idea that, hey guys, what's really important here is that as prideful as you might feel and as you are, there's somebody else that you have to kneel in front of. And when you can get men to kneel in front of, God, in front of Jesus, when they can recognize the Holy Spirit, that's really important for a lot of guys. When you can do that once, then you can start to put that into your life and you can realize, hey, it's not that I'm putting down my pride. It's that I'm just acknowledging that at this moment, I need to not be prideful. That's a fine line and it takes some doing, but it's an angle in to, working with men that doesn't just simply confront, who we are as men. We can't just say, don't have pride. None of us are going to listen to that. I'd be like, get out of my way. So, but I think that's an important component, as we lead. I'm all about leading. I'm all about stepping to the front, and we need more men stepping to the front. It's why I started coaching leaders of men instead of just men. It's like I added that to what I'm doing. We need more leaders. We need more men stepping up. If you can do that, if you can walk hand in hand with Christ in this mission and say, hey, Lord, I need your help to show these men that they don't have to not have pride. They have to not be prideful. I think that's kind of a big distinction. I think it can help.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with this assessment. Amazing Cooper Suite. It's one of our friends and panelists. BD's in the house. It's important to separate being proud of something or someone and being prideful. Oh, you betcha. Betcha. So I believe we discussed this a while back, but by a show of hands, how many of you have one guy that you can reach out to, no restrictions on time, doesn't matter how bad your situation is? You got one person. I don't mean your dad. I don't even mean one of your brothers. I'm talking about one person you can reach out to, just by a show of hands. You have one. All right. Now, I don't think my screen froze, so I saw what I saw. So I want to speak to that real quick. That's how we're going to end the show today. Let you guys talk and kind of share your thoughts on why you responded the way you did. But I kind of feel like, what my hope is that, what I said before with the vision of this was that, you guys in your circle of influence, wherever you live, wherever you are, you have that ability to impact somebody's life who, like I said, could be in that danger zone and you just can't see it. I mean, turn the news on any given night. He's somebody who's in the zone and he decided to make a permanent decision based on a temporary situation. And now they're all over the news and whatnot, and their whole names on the news, and their families are like, put a pipe bomb to their family just because of one decision. You know what I'm saying? Could we have spoken to that person? Did we have an opportunity to catch that person before it happened? Somebody did. So that's a big part of why we're doing this. But another part is what I believe is a powerful brotherhood that we have the ability to form with this. And I've been talking about it since the very start. What was it, last July that we started this? So yeah, I'm not getting on you guys. I'm like, hey man, what's your problem? It ain't nothing for you to pick the phone up and say, hey man, it's not. Why are we not doing that? Just generally speaking, I don't mean anybody here in this room. Generally speaking, why can't we do that? What's the problem with that?
I think one reason can be we feel as though we don't want to impose. You know, even if an offer's laid out, sometimes it's like, I don't want to bother them. You know, I can say that I'm guilty of that. I have a person that I've offered that to, and then I've had that, hey, anytime, you know, you're going through things, call me, right? And one time, and it haunts me right now as I think about it. One time I looked at my phone and I was like, you know, I told him this, but this is an inconvenience for me right now. And then I didn't pick it up, you know, and I think on the other end of it, like when I've wanted to reach out to people, right, it's that same reason. Like, I don't want to inconvenience this person. Like, I just don't. They've got something better to do than to deal with my problems. I'll just figure it out. I'll just do it myself. I'll rub some dirt on it and walk it off, you know? And obviously that's not the way to go. But I think it goes back to the point of being burnt, right? It's also knowing that you can trust these people to guide you, knowing that you can trust whoever it is to pick up, knowing that you can trust whoever it is to hold on to your secrets or your struggles or your weaknesses without hurting you. Oh, Brent.
All right.
Brent. Dirt hydrate. Okay, Brent. He ain't even on the panel when he's starting stuff. I love it.
Right? I know. Oscar, if you want to go, man, I'll go last, man. You go ahead.
Go ahead, Oscar.
It's pride. I mean, you're looking at when I
know that part.
When I look at it for myself, I'm just like DL. You know, I want to be that for other people. I want to be that for other people. And you know, in the veteran community, we have a big problem, right, with that. And it's a big problem. And I want to be that. And I try to reach out to people to check on them. But it's a lot of times, I think in that process, we forget ourselves, right? Because you don't want it almost feels selfish to do that. So then it doesn't feel like I want to go do that. I want to be that for someone else, right? Pick up the phone. Hey man, how you doing? Send a text. Everything's good. Cool. Move on with my life. And then it's so interesting that it's full circle and I see what he's doing now, but it's all full circle, right? Because now I'm like, I can think back now that I did have someone, but no longer. So that to me, it's me trying to take that being burnt and make it into a fire to move forward and light other people, but at the same time keeping myself from then having that reach out for myself. Does that make sense? It's like
I think it does. Yeah.
Right. So I don't want someone else to have that, and I want to be here, and I want to be able to pick up the phone if someone calls me and they're in trouble, and I, you know, because it's happened before where I didn't pick up the phone, and you know, we saw a consequence of that. So that's what I want to do, right? And so I think we forget ourselves because we want to do that. And then it feels selfish to do it for ourselves because maybe that person is going through something worse. I always grew up that way. My pops was like, it's always something is always worse than what you think you have. And that's true in very many things, right? We have, I like to call them first world problems sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Wi-Fi is out or whatever. Like we have first world problems.
The
There's
pizza's
people
late.
that have it much, much, much worse. But again, I think because of that mentality, you start to forget that you also need some of that out there.
Yes, sir. I like it. Thank you, Oscar.
All right. I said I was going to go last. So, you know, when I joined this panel, I decided I was going to come on here and be honest and authentic and open, no matter how, you know, awful it looked. And I mean, I've gotten a little blowback, you know, on some things at times, but it's I don't come on here unless I'm ready to kind of give you the real stuff, brother. So I've never had that. I didn't raise my hand because I've never had it. Since the moment I was born, I never had it. When I was 5 years old, I waited for my dad to get drunk enough to go intentionally piss him off so he would beat me and not my mom. So I've never counted anybody else. Okay. It took me a long time to realize that I could do that with God. And that's part of my faith journey, which is a very long story, which I won't bore everybody with right now. But in terms of earthly folks, I've never done that. And I've also always believed that if you really want to find your true path in life, look at what you really needed at your lowest point and you didn't have, and become that. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I started Power Man Podcast. That's why I continue to do it. I did it when there was no monetization in sight. I did it when it was, just a labor of love and making sure I was there for everybody else who might need it. I view my job to be there for my family with nothing in return, to be there for my kids with nothing in return, and to be there for every man who will put his hand out that needs it with nothing in return, because I didn't have it. And so every time I get to be that for somebody, to me, that makes up for not having it. That's why I didn't raise my hand.
All right.
So.
Okay. Back in the day, this is ever since the 70s. When a TV show came on that I liked, I don't care what it was, Night Rider, whatever it was. At the end of that show, if it said the 3 words "to be continued," I was pretty much apoplectic. Because I'm waiting a whole week to see the end of the story and how it ends. It is horrible. Even to this day, I think it's still horrible. It's ugly. So we can't do this show like this. I don't want to end on it "to be continued." So I'm going to ask a question. I want everybody involved in this. I got to walk away with something that made me feel good about what we did today.
I'm sorry, man. You want authenticity.
No, it's not somebody's fault. No. It's not anybody's fault, but it's kind of. Do you guys watch Big Bang Theory? You ever watched it before? Anybody fan? You seen that episode where Amy tried to get Sheldon to not finish stuff? Like with the dominoes and the Jack in the Box, and wouldn't let just to make your dysfunction kick in. That's what's going to happen here I can't go to the end of this and not have some kind of then we're gonna stop it. I can't let that happen. So help me out with this. I want to ask this question because I may have asked it before, but I think we're in a new year, new perspective. What are we committed to doing to fix that? Because I'm hearing about the things and everything that we heard about, that I believe I heard, stems from past wounds that maybe have not been healed yet. That's what I'm hearing in my spiritual deliverance ministry pastoral ears. That's what I hear. So tell me, what can we do? Better question, what are we committed to doing? Everybody's in the comment section, you guys here on the panel. What are we committed to doing to fix that? What can we do today to fix that? What can we commit to doing to fix that? Because we can't walk out of here and say, you know what, I never had that, and tomorrow I ain't gonna have it either. Come on, man. We could do this. That's what this podcast is all about. That's what it's about. That's why we started. One of the reasons why we started this. I can't let y'all go out like that. So what can we do? Talk back to me as quick as you can. Come on, let's go. What can we do?
All right, I'll go so they can finish on a good note. All right, for me, it's see a need, fill a need, brother. See a need, fill a need. That's it. See a need, fill a need. I mean, if you don't have it for yourself, then you do everything you can to be that for somebody else. Yeah. Now they can go and make everybody smile on the way out.
But you have it. But you have it for yourself. You got options. Come on, who else? You have options, man. Don't you know that?
I'm gonna throw this out there, man.
There's one option right there.
I'm gonna throw this out there, man, and then I hope I don't fail in this one. 916-857-5770.
Oh my gosh! Every stalker in the world. The post on YouTube is crazy, man.
Man, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? Like Rory spoke to it, man. My entire function, the way that I move in life these days is I want to be the answer to the prayers that I used to have that I didn't feel like were answered in a way that I wanted them answered, right? I wanted there to be a specific person to answer the phone at a specific time or respond to a text message. By the way, if you took that number down, I prefer text messaging. Give me a little bit of time for that. But at the end of the day, that's what it is, man. I'm always going to be committed to that because I've seen a lot of that in my life. I've seen a lot of things answered from prayers. I'm living out answered prayer right now. And so I just want to be that. I'm committed to being that, an answer to somebody's prayer that I once had that I didn't get answered.
All right. I'm still waiting for the answer, but go ahead, Oscar. You can go ahead.
Community. I think
I haven't heard the answer. I haven't heard the answer yet. So wait, go ahead.
That's the answer. I think it's community.
My question is my question is, what are you committed to doing?
I'm committed to continuing to grow a community of not just men, but information and availability for people to be able to find the answers that they need without having to subdue their ego if they don't want. To have that answer out there, to have the perspective that maybe they're not getting somewhere else. And I say that because I think I talked to Rory. I was about to stop the whole thing that I'm doing with the Daughter Podcast. I was going to stop it. I believe it was January 7th or whatever when we got to talk, and that was the commitment. Is like, nope, we're doing this because the feedback is there. The people are getting benefit from it, and as I mentioned earlier, if I can, then I should. Then I must. So we'll continue to do that.
100%, man. You cannot quit that podcast. And DL, thank you, brother. Absolutely, 100%. I don't know what to tell you, man. I want to give you a happy ending. I love you, but this is why we do what we do. This is why we're all dedicated to doing what we do, man. You know, I mean, seriously. I think at the top of every food chain, there's somebody who's willing to give before they get. And I think that's where we all are. That's where you are, even though you're trying to be all holistic about it.
Oh man, I love you guys, man.
I think he wants the answer to be Rory is going to monetize his podcast. I think that's what he wants the answer.
we already know that was the question. That wasn't even the answer. It's the question and the answer. He's already doing it. He just want to show us how to do it. That's the only thing that's different. We already know he's doing it over there. I want to make sure that you guys are good, man, because I don't play around with that kind of stuff, man. I see stuff, man, out here. I see stuff all the time. Like I don't want you guys to walk out of here and just people say they're all right all the time. And then guess what? They in 72 hours, they're a cautionary tale. I just don't want that, man. But I'm gonna leave it there. Y'all probably going to text me and stuff, and I'm good. I'm gonna answer it and stuff back. But I ain't feeling great about the lack of commitment.
I'm texting you now.
I ain't feeling great about it. You guys got to commit to this, man, and do this. You guys got people, man. You got somebody. Even in somewhere in this Men's Roundtable Series podcast family, somebody they could trust with your stuff, and they ain't gonna run you all down on social media. You can't say you don't have anybody, so I don't understand that. But that's okay. I'm gonna read this last comment, then I'm hitting outro music. Our guy Brent says, people need to listen to this group. This is my playlist as a men's coach. I love it. It's my playlist right here on the screen. Thank you, sir. I need more help on Apple Podcasts, so I thank you, man. Thank you so much, man. But you guys have been fantastic, man. Thank you for watching and listening to the Men's Roundtable Series podcast starting in March next week. Every Thursday. I'm so excited, man. That means more content, more stuff. I'm hoping more collaborations, more inter-podcast connectivity that we got going on here. Start sharing stuff. YouTube, Apple Pod. Yeah. Let's blow this mission up, man. I'm excited for you guys, man. Excited for the work. I'm definitely excited about first comment coming through. More comments coming through. Thank you, guys. Thank you. This is awesome. Appreciate you guys. All right. We out of here for real this time. God bless.